Walk into almost any historic cathedral, look high above the altar, and you will find 4 letters often dripping in gold leaf: INRI. For centuries, this symbol has stood at the center of the Christian faith as a kind of heavenly decree. Visionary artists from Michelangelo to Salvador Dali have used this inscription to anchor the supernatural event of the crucifixion in physical reality. To the modern eye, those 4 letters read as pure religious decoration, but 2,000 years ago, they carried a terrifying meaning to anyone walking along a Judean road. At Golgotha, the sign functioned as a brutal piece of criminal military paperwork. The execution of Jesus of Nazareth was a highly documented, bureaucratic state action logged by the Roman Empire. Every punishment had to be justified and publicly recorded. To understand the origin of Christianity's most famous symbol, we have to strip away the sacred mythology. We need to examine the sign for exactly what it was under the law: a titulus crucis, a Roman death warrant designed to humiliate. In Roman criminal law, a titulus crucis, literally title of the cross, was a mandatory public statement of the specific crime a person committed. It functioned as a gruesome billboard, warning the public against crossing the state. The physical manufacture of these documents was entirely practical. A wooden board was coated in a whitewash made of lime, and the charges were painted on using permanent black gall ink to guarantee maximum visual contrast from a distance. The wording for this specific execution did not come from a priest. It came from the Roman prefect, Pontius Pilate. As a tired bureaucrat forced into a crucifixion he tried to avoid, Pilate personally dictated the text: Jesus of Nazareth, King of the Jews. That first label, Nazarene, functioned as a deliberate insult. Nazareth was a remote, dusty village of little consequence. Including it on a royal death warrant emphasized the prisoner's low-status origin, openly mocking his supposed claim to a throne. The rest of the sentence fulfilled a strict political logic. Rome, and Caesar alone, held the absolute authority to decide who was a king. Anyone claiming that title without imperial permission was automatically classified as an enemy of the state. When the local Jewish high priests saw the drafted sign, they were outraged. They demanded Pilate amend the legal record to say the prisoner only claimed to be king, rather than declaring the kingship as an objective, recorded fact. Pilate drafted the sign as a final act of spite against the political rivals who had forced his hand, ending the dispute with a cold legal refusal: "What I have written, I have written." To ensure this insult reached the widest possible audience, Pilate mandated the sign be written in 3 distinct languages. Every demographic passing the main road near Golgotha would be able to read the charge. The first language was Latin. This was the cold, precise language of the imperial administration. It served as the official, unyielding stamp of a Roman death warrant. The second language was Greek, the lingua franca of the Mediterranean. Using Greek opened the message to travelers, merchants, and intellectuals moving through the empire. The third was the local dialect of Hebrew or Aramaic. This targeted the native Jewish population, specifically chosen to rub the execution directly in the faces of the religious authorities. Modern archaeology gives us a glimpse into how this actually looked. Today, a piece of wood claimed to be a fragment of the original sign is preserved in Rome, within the Basilica of the Holy Cross. Forensic analysis shows this relic is made of Mediterranean walnut. This matches first-century Judean timber, heavily suggesting it was a scrap piece of wood grabbed from a military workshop in a rush. But the relic reveals a startling linguistic anomaly. The Latin and Greek lines are written backward. The letters flow from right to left across the board. This anomaly suggests the sign was painted in a hurry by a local Jewish scribe. A person whose hand naturally wrote Hebrew from right to left simply applied the same direction to the Greek and Latin letters, cementing the document as a messy piece of local bureaucracy. Throughout the trial and execution, the prisoner remained silent about the title. Jesus never spoke against the sign, allowing his executioners to permanently write his true identity for him in the public record. Fixed above his head, the titulus crucis functioned as a permanent beacon. Even during the 3 hours of darkness recorded in the Gospels, the whitened board and black ink remained highly visible, completing the cross as an instrument of communication. Over time, the raw Latin acronym, INRI transitioned away from military shorthand. Early believers and artists adopted it as a universal theological symbol to represent the title of Christ. In the Eastern Orthodox tradition, the concept adapted globally, utilizing different acronyms like ICXC to reflect distinct linguistic and theological histories. Pontius Pilate intended the titulus to be a fleeting, cynical joke that would rot away in the dirt along with the wooden cross. Instead, these words have outlasted the Roman Empire itself. The three languages painted on that board represented the three pillars of Western civilization: Roman law, Greek philosophy, and Judean religion. Without realizing it, Pilate broadcast the core claim of Christianity to the entire known world. The letters INRI represent an ancient political power play that spectacularly backfired, turning a petty bureaucratic gesture into a globally recognized title.